Macmillan Audio presents The Chisholm Trail by Ralph Compton. Read by Scott Sowers. Fire and thunder on the plain. When a summer storm struck 2 nights later, so did the renegades. They waited until the thunder and lightning became intense enough to stampede the herd. With the longhorns running toward the south and the riders trying to head them, the band of outlaws rode in from the north. Slipping in behind the hard-riding cowboys, they began shooting. When 10 first heard the shots, he thought it was his own riders trying to head the herd. He changed his mind when a slug burned its way across his thigh and another ripped off his hat. 10 reined up, drew his Henry, and began firing at muzzle flashes mixed in with the stampeding herd. Respectfully dedicated to the working cowboy. His is a saga sparked by the turmoil following the Civil War, and the passing of more than a century has not diminished the flame. While the old days and the old ways are gone, and the trails have grown dim, the working cowboy, from South Texas to the High Plains, is alive and well. Our hats are off to you, partner, wherever you are. Author's Foreword. Jesse Chisholm was born in Tennessee, the son of a Scottish father and a Cherokee mother. He spoke 14 Indian languages and was trusted by whites and Indians alike. Many captive white and Indian children were returned to their families through his efforts. He was a frontiersman and scout who got things done. In 1832, he helped lay out a wagon road from Fort Smith, Arkansas to Fort Towson in Indian Territory. In 1836, he guided a group of gold seekers up the Arkansas River to the mouth of the Little Arkansas. Their destination was the site where Wichita, Kansas would stand more than 30 years later. The gold mine didn't exist, but Chisholm liked the area. He returned and built a trading post on the Canadian River. Chisholm often supplied Indian cattle to the military at Fort Scott, close to the Missouri border. For 10 years, from 1843 to 1853, he drove herds along a military road that followed the border of eastern Kansas, taking cattle north to Westport and Kansas City. When Congress created Kansas Territory, Kansas and Nebraska Act, May 30th, 1854, the route Chisholm took was called the Kansas Road. But there was trouble ahead for those who drove Texas longhorns to the northern markets. In 1855, there was an epidemic of Texas fever in Missouri, the result of a tick carried by Texas longhorns. While the longhorns were themselves immune, the tick was fatal to other cattle. Missouri took the issue to court and passed a law forbidding Texas cattle to enter the state. The controversy continued until 1861, when the rumblings of war became reality. The Civil War closed all the trails. By war's end, there were 5 million wild longhorns in the Texas breaks, but they were just as unwelcome as ever in Missouri. Texas needed a miracle, but it didn't come until February 1867, when the Kansas Pacific Railroad reached Abilene. At that time, Jesse Chisholm's soon-to-be famous trail stretched from Red River to within a few miles of the Kansas town. Strangely enough, this most celebrated of all cattle trails was established in 1865 for a totally different reason. The government had decided to move 3,000 Wichita Indians to a reservation in the southern part of Indian Territory. Major Henry Shanklin, in charge of moving the Indians, arranged for Jesse Chisholm to open a trail and establish supply points along the way through Indian Territory to the banks of the Red River. The proposed trail would cross the Salt Fork, Cimarron, and North and South Canadian rivers. These were treacherous waters, fraught with ever-shifting quicksand, where a safe crossing today might become a death trap tomorrow. With this in mind, Chisholm started from the Arkansas River with a large train of teams, driving before him a herd of 100 horses. The animals were driven.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?